An Israeli soldier was murdered today in cold blood. I will always continue to bring you the true news from Israel, unlike the fake news that the media enjoys spreading about my country. Amit Benigal, a 21-year-old soldier, was murdered today during an operational activity to arrest Palestinian terrorists in a village near Jenin in Samaria. The terrorist basically hid on a building, waited for the soldier to look up and expose his face because he was wearing a helmet, and then he dropped a rock on him. Amit was rushed to the hospital in Haifa, but unfortunately he did not survive. The father of Amit, the fallen soldier, mourned his death and said, "My whole life revolved around this boy. In my darkest dream, I never believed I'd have the title bereaved father. My most precious thing was taken away from me." I can't imagine what it feels like for a father to wake up in the morning as soldiers are knocking at your door, waiting to inform you that your one and only son is dead. This is just unthinkable. Amit also had a girlfriend, and she told the news that last night he called her and told her that he loves her and that he promised to take care of himself. He hung up the phone and turned it off as he went to make the arrests, but unfortunately, he did not come back alive. Right now, there are large forces in that area looking for the bastard who did this. It's definitely only a matter of time before he will get caught. And those that think that they can harm Israel are absolutely wrong. Because the more they try to hurt us, the stronger we will get and the more we will thrive. We are not going anywhere. Israel is my one and only home. I don't have another place to go to. Palestinian radicals seek to drive us out of our ancestral homeland, Israel, and that's why they carry out attacks on both civilians and soldiers. I think that the answer to terrorism is to build more homes, to form new communities, and to send a clear message of life. Because we are not going anywhere. When I served in the IDF, I went on countless missions in Judea and Samaria to protect the lives of Israelis from terrorists that wanted to carry out attacks. Palestinian rioters would throw rocks at us, Molotov cocktails, and even homemade bombs. The media always portrayed their protests as peaceful, but honestly, it is not a Palestinian protest unless there are rocks there too. They don't go and protest, they go out with an attempt to kill. And you have to understand that it's not like the IDF goes to villages and towns because they like to do that. The IDF actually has no business in going inside villages and towns. But unfortunately, sometimes they have to if they want to stop a terror attack on time. So the next time you hear about a Palestinian protest, always keep in mind that in reality, it's a violent attempt to murder soldiers with rocks and Molotov cocktails. And unfortunately, this is not the only news that we have today coming from Israel. Hours after the murder of Amit Benigal, a terrorist attempted to stab security forces at Kalandia crossing, which is basically a checkpoint between Jerusalem and Ramallah. Thankfully, the terrorist was neutralized and no one was injured. I definitely hope that he was neutralized in a permanent way because terrorists have no future here in the Middle East. Because in a future Middle East, in a peaceful Middle East, the terrorists are not going to be here. And in order to achieve peace in this region, we first have to get rid of the terrorists. This is why I support death penalty, because again, they have no future here if we want that peace. This is actually why Israel has an army, because we actually face real enemies that want me dead, my family dead, all of Israel dead. And they are not going to stop anywhere until we actually go and stop them before they kill us. So you have to understand that Israel doesn't have an army for fun. We don't look for conflicts and we don't look for wars. And you're hearing this from an IDF reservist that is serving in the IDF and used to serve in active service as well. We are not looking for conflicts. Actually, we want peace. There is nothing that we want more than peace in this region. But unfortunately, some of our radical neighbors like Hamas, Hezbollah, and other jihadists are looking to murder us. And we are not going to let that happen. Thank you so much for your continuous support for Israel. It is so important and vital, especially these days. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel and call your friends to do the same to stay connected to the real news from Israel.